Sim Update 10 for Microsoft Flight Simulator is releasing next week. This is a big one. It's got DLSS support, multi-monitor support, and much more. Additionally, we have a brand new roadmap that takes us all the way up to the end of the year, as well as a new feedback snapshot giving us the latest insight into the game's development. So let's start with Sim Update 10. As we know, it's going to include support for DLSS, also multi-monitor support. This one has been in beta for quite a few months at this point, or quite a few weeks at the very least, and yet apparently that's been going very well. As many of you will no doubt be aware, Sim Update 10 was delayed somewhat. So we've now got a release window for that. It's it's next week, but we don't have an exact date just yet. Microsoft are going to give us that information in the coming days. The development team has said that the extended beta has been very good, very useful for them to get all the necessary feedback, so hopefully this release is going to be a nice smooth one. For all the other content coming in this update, do check out my previous video which details pretty much everything you need to know, linked both on screen right now as well as in the video description. Now it turns out that September is going to be a very busy month for this sim. Not only do we have Sim Update 10 come in, but also towards the end of September is World Update 11. This will feature Canada. We can see that the roadmap is telling us this is coming on the 28th of September. Expect to see new scenery, new digital elevation maps, photogrammetry, airports, and much more. So yeah, very nice update. I know a lot of people are going to be looking forward to this one. Also know that quite a few people are hoping for Southern Hemisphere updates coming pretty soon. More of that further into the video. There is something planned. October, meanwhile, is going to be pretty quiet. You may remember a while ago that the development team mentioned that they're going to slow down a little bit the pace of development. Ever since the release of the sim, they've been releasing a major update every single month. They need to slow down a bit. It's just not really working for them. A few too many things are breaking, so it looks like every second month may well be a month off, or at least perhaps every third month. So in this case, that's going to be October. It doesn't mean that we're going to be left in the lurch by the dev team. After all, we're still going to get updated feedback snapshots, as well as some feature discovery series. Two of these planned, one for the 20th of October, another for the 27th. In case you're new to all of this, Feature Discovery Series is a video series put out by Microsoft that deep dive into various features of the sim, so usually very much worthwhile. Meanwhile, as we get into the later part of the year, the November specifically, we can expect to see the 40th anniversary of Microsoft Flight Simulator. This one's going to be a big deal, or perhaps one of the biggest updates ever, or at least one of the most anticipated updates. It's going to feature helicopters and gliders, among other things. This is basically Sim Update 11. It's also releasing on the 11th of the 11th. And for the final month of the year, December, we've got no updates whatsoever. Some basic feedback snapshots we can expect to see, and that pretty much is about it, along with a new development roadmap. A quiet December is completely understandable. After all, the dev team definitely need to unwind and take a bit of a break. So let's move on to the latest feedback snapshots. We've got a few pages here and quite a bit of new information. As you can see, there's a lot of things under investigation here. We're not going to go into those too much, but we do want to look at the first three things on the list right here. So the constant crashes to desktop that's happening in every flight for some people, this has now been resolved. It doesn't say resolved for when and what patch it's going to go into, but they say they've identified this and fixed it. Another thing that's been fixed is the Top Gun Maverick countdown. This is where the numbers don't disappear from the screen. This has also now been fixed. The train level of detail overlaid in the main thread, I assume on the CPU, and causing a crash, especially low to the ground. Now this one is definitely a bit of a problem, and it may also factor into some of the stuttering that we see when flying close to the ground. Asobo say they've started work on this. We've seen some improvement in Sim Update 10, but looks as though it's going to be an ongoing process, so maybe more fixes coming for this in Sim Update 11. The next page has a few things we're well familiar with by this time. Again, this is the page on bugs. Live weather not matching. Work on this has been started. It's planned to cover several releases. Garmin G1000 and G3000. We know this is getting regular updates. It's being done by Working Title, I do believe. Apologies if I've got that wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it is that. Yeah, that's being, again, a major overhaul, actually, a major update in Sim Update 10, but I do believe that is ongoing work as well. Number 4, after playing for a few hours, frame rate drops down from 40 frames a second to 5 frames a second, so I assume that means significant frame rate drops depending on your hardware. This is ongoing work improved in Sim Update 10, but apparently going to require further releases to get it fully fixed. The approach flyback bug. This has been started, again improved in Sim Update 10. Quite difficult about this one really, as we can see this issue really occurred in Sim Update 5, or perhaps before. Not fixed as stated in Sim Update 5 we can see here, so this one has been going on for a very long time now. Lack of real-time traffic, 90% less than what's happening. Work on this has been started. Again, another one that's been with us for a very long time. Something that is really much desired at this point. After all, one of the big selling points for Microsoft Flight Simulator, scenery aside, was its real-time traffic. So hopefully Sobo are about to get on top of this sooner rather than later. There's work that's planned ongoing for preventing the flight planner from reshuffling the plan after adding, or something else they're adding or amending, I guess. Coastline glitches, water creeping up coasts and cliffs. This one is very odd. It looks like Asobo are having to go around and perhaps manually fix this coast by coast. We can see it's ongoing work and occurring across various world updates. At number 17, another performance-related problems, massive FPS drops because of Sim Update 9. Work on this again started, improved for Sim Update 10. I assume it's going to be ongoing. Number 19, wrong temperatures. This one's been fixed, good to see. And another performance-related problem at number 22, poor performance on the ground. Again started with improvements in Sim Update 10. Next up, we have the Wishlist. Now this one is always a pleasure to see because, well, it seems these wish lists are getting fulfilled as time goes on. I'm not going to read all the ones here that have got work started on them because we know all about that. Helicopters, DirectX 12, replay functionality, for example. Oh, and another point here, just seeing a DirectX 12, it reminded me. Microsoft have been working directly with Nvidia for a new driver update. The driver update is going to release alongside Sim Update 10 apparently. It's going to have improvements for DirectX 12, as well as some fixes for the visual issues that were delivered with DLSS support in the beta for Sim Update 10. So a nice new driver update, which will give us a good excuse to do another comparison video, I think, as it's likely to make quite a bit of significant difference to how the update performs. So something to look forward to there. But back to the wish list. The one thing that really stands out to me here, aside from all the things we already know about, such as helicopters and gliders, is number 24, seasons. Work on this has been started, we've known about this for a while, but the fact that this wish list is coming over time almost completely full is a very nice touch, and certainly a good sign for what to expect for seasons, something I'm looking forward to seeing. Another thing I wanted to point out from the wish list is this world update. World update Papua New Guinea, Western New Guinea. So this is getting us onto the southern hemisphere. We also know that a world update for Brazil is planned, which is also mentioned further on in the feedback snapshots. So some fantastic news there. I know a lot of people have been waiting for a southern hemisphere update, so it looks like we're getting a few of those in the coming year, hopefully, something for next year maybe. Finally, two other things I wanted to point out. Number 53 here, bring back old events, old discovery flights and landing challenges. This is something that I know is coming with the Sim Update 11. Microsoft have mentioned that. They're bringing back historic challenges, historic missions from previous versions of Flight Simulator, so that in itself should be pretty interesting. And then right here at number 60, we've got fix photogrammetric bridges so that they're not solid underneath. This is planned, and yeah, that one is going to be a nice one. Bridges are one thing that are pretty ugly when it comes to photogrammetry, so Getting those fixed is going to be pretty nice. So, which feature are you most looking forward to out of all these listed? Do let me know in the comment section below. And also, do you feel there should be other things mentioned that aren't on any of these lists? So that brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.